My Summer Vacation by Irma Albright. It all started when Grandma Bing won a contest to go to the Far East, and she took Granddad, Irving, and me with her.
Wow! Well, I never! This is great!
What's in that letter?
Well, it says here that I have won
A car?
A diamond necklace?
Oh, just give me a moment. I've never won anything like this before. It's a trip.
To the Indianapolis 500. Woo!
Robert Paris?
More like Disneyland. That is mine.
It's this one. Hush, all of you. It's to the Far East.
More like East Portmouth, if you ask me.
No, it's to the Far East.
Here, let me see that.
China and Japan.
Can we go with you?
Well, yes.
Gee whiz, this is on the up and up. And what's more, it's for 4 people.
Let's get packing.
Well, what are you waiting for, Bob?
Oh, just the shots, the passports, oh yeah, the pet sitter, the house sitter, the extra cash, the credit cards, shut off the water.
And that's how it all got started.
Irma, where did you say you go in the Far East?
We went to Japan, China, Thailand, and someplace called Myanmar that Granddad called Burma. I always thought that was the name of the shaving cream Granddad used. But anyway, our first stop was
Irma, I hope that your report isn't going to be too long.
oh no, Miss Spencer, I'm just going to give you some of the highlights of the trip. Anyway, our first stop was in Myanmar, the place that Granddad called Burma. It had once been controlled by the British Empire, when they had an empire anyway. There were many places that we saw in the capital city of Yangon, but Grandma kept going on about a Bing and a Bob and a llama.
L'Amour, Irma. Dorothy L'Amour.
Granddad was a bit upset that he had to go shoeless all the way up Mandalay Hill because it's where the Buddha was supposed to have walked. There's a shrine halfway up that contains 3 of the Buddha's bones in it.
Did you discover anything else about Myanmar while you were there?
Yes, it really pours in the summer. We were there in July and it was hot. Granddad got all upset when the electricity shut off the AC in our rooms at night. But people said that the electricity didn't work all the time. What I found interesting was that a 6-hour bus ride only cost $1.50. Granddad said he was glad he had brought enough cash with us, since there weren't any ATM machines anywhere. Grandma bought a lot of jade, but Granddad wasn't too angry with her because the prices were so low.
Is there any other product Myanmar sells in abundance besides jade?
Oh yeah, opium. If there are no other questions, called Siam. When my brother Irving heard that Thailand had been called Siam, all they could think of was the Siamese twins, but they're not really Siamese.
No, Irvin, they aren't.
And all I could think of were the cats in Disney's Lady and the Tramp. That caused me to have a strange dream one night. Please, if you don't please, we are lonely brothers and so Siam. There are no finer cats than we am. We are Siamese wearing dainty claws. Louise are wearing paws and taking dainty claws. Now we're looking over at New Domicile. If we'd like to stay for maybe quite a while. However, Siam was once ruled over by a very famous king named Yul Brynner. But Miss Spencer, that was what my grandma called him. The king's real name was Monka. He and his son steered the country into the modern age without becoming a colonial subject. They adopted Western-style educational systems, foreign trade agreements, and later encouraged Western-style dress. Today, the people who have remained independent welcome the Western world and tourists. Our next stop is China, the land of the dragon.
Why do you say that?
Although there are many animal symbols in China, such as the crane and the lion, the dragon dominates them all. It is a symbol of authority, fertility, goodness, and strength, and the benevolent bringer of wealth and good fortune. The Emperor of China occupied the dragon throne, wore dragon robes, and even slept in the dragon bed. The ordinary people of China sometimes refer to themselves as the children of the dragon. And you have a good fortune in each one of those cookies that are coming along, right behind the dragon. Did you know that the Chinese invented a writing system and calligraphy, macaroni, eyeglasses, gunpowder, astronomy, the compass, and a calendar? We spent several days doing some sightseeing in Beijing, which some older Americans still call Peking. One morning, we had to get up very, very early. I do not like getting up very early in the morning, but we did. And that's when I first heard of Tai Chi.
Bob, do you know what those doing?
I think it's some kind of martial arts.
It is called Qigong, or Tai Chi.
Is it a real martial art, sir?
Yes, it is. However, most people today use it more than your exercises than as a martial art. It is a moving meditation to blend the spirit, mind, and body into oneness with itself. It can be used as a preventative health measure as well, but it's meant to help develop a sense of centering and balance.
Oh, thank you for your explanation, Mr.
My name is Lee. How long will you be here in Beijing?
We've only got a few days left in China before we move on to Japan.
Then may I act as your guide? This is my capital city, and there are a few places to see that you shouldn't miss, even if you only have a few days.
That would be wonderful.
Are you a Buddhist monk?
I thought China outlawed all religion.
That was true for a long time, and even now it is not popular to speak of religion. However, even though China is officially an atheist country, we have many who follow Confucius or are Buddhists and traditional Taoists. There are also Muslim, Catholic, and Protestant people here as well.
You wouldn't happen to know the Dalai Lama, would you?
Oh, big.
These old men, we play ball, we play knick-knack on my thumb. There's a knick-knack, paddywhack, give it on the bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played too. He played knick-knack on my shoe. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, give it on the bone. This old man came rolling home. So Mr. Lee told us a lot about the history of China and how it went from emperors to the Boxer Rebellion. We didn't want to have boxers up there. And from the Communist Party taking over to the Cultural Revolution. Then he explained how China has changed since the death of Mao Zedong. Lee said that since 1979, China's economy has doubled roughly every 7.5 years. The country is self-sufficient in food. Most children have access to clean drinking water, basic health care, and vaccines. Mr. Lee took us to see the Forbidden City and the Summer Palace, the Temple of Heaven, and the Stone Forest, where all of the stones are in the shapes of people and things naturally. I mean, no one carved them into these weird shapes other than nature. Next, Mr. Lee took us to see the terracotta army of the great Emperor Qin Shi Huang in his tomb near Xi'an, which is not too far from Beijing. He also took us to a Chinese opera in the aqueducts. Finally, he took us to Tiananmen Square, which is the symbolic center of the Chinese universe.
I'd like to do something a little different. What would you recommend?
Have you ever had your horoscope done?
Ha! Horoscope. That's a new one.
No, it isn't. In ancient times, every Chinese person had a horoscope done upon his birth. There are 12 different animals that rule over a year, one per year.
That's neat.
But I want to get my horoscope done. Let's go to an astrology shop.
Me too.
Oh, how much is this gonna cost me?
Okay. Now I need some audience participation. I would like people to stand if I give the year that you were born. Now, wait till I go through 3 or 4 years before you stand up so nobody's going to know which one's yours. If you were born in 1920, 1932, 1944, 1956, 1968, or 1980, stand up. Look up those particular years. Any month, any day of that year. Okay, look around you people. These are intelligent, persuasive, and skillful people. They strive to excel, and they are compatible with a dragon of the rat. You're opposite of the tiger, but you're a monkey. Have a seat. Were you born in 1929, 1941, 1953, 1965, or 1977? Stand up. Look around. These are self-willed and intense people. You display great wisdom, but you are compatible with the rooster and the ox. Your opposite is a pig. Yeah, but you're snakes. And I will do just one more. If you were born in 1914, 1926, 1938, 1950, 1962, or 1974, please stand up. No, you're not. There's a couple more. There's a couple more. We have These people are forthright and sensitive. They possess great courage, and they're compatible with the horse and the dog. Their opposite is the monkey, so watch out, you monkey people, because these are the tigers.
In China, the number 5 recurs frequently and is a symbol of totality. There are 5 emperors, 5 excellencies, 5 clouds, 5 rains, 5 musical tones, 5 virtues, 5 precepts, 5 classes of spiritual beings, and 5 classics, among others. Here are a few of the famous 5s. There are 5 colors. They are azure, red, yellow, white, and black. Red was to bring good fortune and is associated with summer, fire, and the south. Yellow, a symbol of earth, was the color for the emperor. The 5 elements are earth, wood, metal, fire, and water. The 5 directions are south, west, north, east, and center. There are 5 beasts of sacrifice. They are the ox, sheep, dog, fowl, and pig. There are 5 tastes: sweet, sour, bitter, salty, and bland. And there are 5 blessings. They are long life, wealth, peace, virtue, and fame.
Oh, this is the Great Wall of China.
If we hadn't seen this, I wouldn't think I had been to China.
This is just fabulous. What a view.
Wow. How long is this wall, Mr. Lee?
The Great Wall is the longest fortification in history. It is over 4,000 kilometers long. It was started in 214 BC, just 7 years after China's unification. Your astronauts said that they could see it from outer space.
How old is China, Mr. Lee?
The origins of China's civilization go back about 2,200 years BC. Do you know that China is the 3rd largest country in the world? It has 1/4 of the world's population and is the world's most populated country with over 1.26 billion people in it.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
How do they feed everyone?
Well, many people are still farmers, and one of their crops is rice, which is our staple crop.
Oh, how well I know that.
But But isn't China a modern city, our country?
Oh yes, China is moving away from a state-controlled economy to a free market enterprise, which is factory-oriented, with many manufactured goods such as textiles and electronics. Besides, the literacy rate for adults is over 82%.
That's great. There's so much to see, but we're off to Japan tomorrow.
Yes, you really can do China justice in just a few days.
I'd like to see more someday.
So would I. It's been wonderful, Mr. Lee. Thank you.
I have to admit that even though I can't eat rice with chopsticks, I'd like to come back someday and see the rest of this country.
Our final stop was Japan. Grandma could only pick 3 cities to go to in the time we had, so she picked Tokyo, Kyoto, and Nagasaki. Once we arrived in Tokyo, we took a train ride down to our hotel.
Wow! Would you look at all these people?
They sure don't dress in kimonos here.
You can tell something about each by what they're wearing. He belongs to a Bozozuka, a motorcycle gang. Sometimes they go on to become a Yakuza. That's a gangster just like that man over there.
Oh my.
How do you know all this stuff?
It's all in this book. That young mother over there is a Yagoma. That's a young girl who had children at a very young age, but still dresses in mini skirts and platform shoes like a young student.
Where did you get that?
From the library before we left home.
Let me see the book.
Wow. That older woman would be an Obatillion. That means a grandmother.
Looks more like a battle axe, if you ask me.
Gee, Granddad. That's just what it says here that Obatillion means.
That's not nice.
And those girls are called office ladies because they all dress like secretaries, but they do the same work as their bosses for less pay.
Even I don't think that's right.
Well, here we are in our stop.
I'm Mr. Nark. I've been assigned by your travel agency to drive while you're in Japan.
That's great. I haven't seen or heard many people speaking English here. Not like in China.
That is why I am here. Where would you like to go and what would you like to see?
I thought that we might visit Kyoto and Nagasaki as well as Tokyo.
I'd like to see a real Japanese garden.
And I'd like to see a Japanese castle. They're supposed to be neat.
And I'd like to go to a Japanese tea ceremony.
It is good that you want to visit Kyoto and Tokyo. They have all that you have asked for.
Really?
On your way to Kyoto, you will see impressive castles, including Iwajigo, most of which is impressive in all Japan. In Kyoto itself, you can visit Kyoto, the former residence of the Shogun of Tokugawa, an imperial residence that is surrounded by lovely gardens.
Then what are we waiting for?
Mr. Nara, is Tokugawa a samurai or a real shogun?
So, Tokugawa was a samurai who rose through the ranks quickly because of his leadership, abilities, and military tactics. He became shogun in 1600 AD.
I thought a samurai was just a soldier.
The prime duty of the samurai was to give faithful service to his lord. Over the centuries, the samurai established a code of conduct that became known as Bushido, the way of the warrior. The code was drawn from the Confucianism, Shinto, and Buddhism. During the oppressed, he was expected to show benevolence and exercise justice. A real samurai has endless endurance and total self-control. So only the truth and display no emotion. Mrs. Honor was his life, disgrace and shame were to be avoided above all else, and all insults
place Tokuwaka was.
What is that? One time you ruled all of Japan.
Wow, just like a kite.
Before we left for Nagasaki, Mr. Nara took us to a sumo wrestling match. Grandma thought it was boring. She said it was just like watching two fat men trying to push each other over and was a waste of time. In Nagasaki, we visited several places, but the one that I remember most is Hypo Center Park. This is a park which has a black square stone column, marking the exact point above which the atomic bomb exploded. Nearby, there are relics of the bomb-blasted wall of the Urakami Cathedral, a Catholic church which we would call Ground Zero today. Over 75,000 people were killed instantly, and another 75,000 people injured. Everything within a 1 kilometer radius of the explosion was destroyed. A third of the city was wiped out. Granddad and Mr. Nara took a tour of the A-bomb museum, and Mr. Nara refused to allow the rest of us to go with them. When they emerged from the museum, Granddad said that it was a thing he hoped would never be repeated. Back in Tokyo, on our last night in Japan, Mr. Nara took us to a small restaurant in Tokyo where we had sushi for the first time. And on our way to it, we saw a parade that had some people dressed as samurai, a geisha, Noh and kabuki theater players, and several people carrying paper lanterns, koi flags and kites, and decorated fans and parasols, some of which had a red sun on them.
This is a sushi bar.
No, Bob. Mr. Nara said it was a good noodle bar.
That is correct. It sells some of the very best sushi in Tokyo.
How did you know what to bring us?
I took the opportunity to order something which would be very mild sushi for all of you.
I hope it's not too spicy.
Oh no. In this restaurant, the sushi is always spicy if you order it that way.
Did you?
No, since service says this is the first time any of you have ever had sushi, I only ordered mild.
Hey, this is good. What is sushi anyway?
It is raw fish. What you have in front of you is prawn, cuttlefish, and seafood. Good, isn't it?
I think I've eaten all I can.
You're not very adventurous, Bob.
No. And at my gentle age, I want to remain that way for a long, long time.
Back at the hotel, while we were packing to come home, Bernie and I overheard Grandma and Granddad talking about our trip.
Was so beautiful. It's too bad that there was no freedom. No freedom of the press.
And owning a fax machine could only get you thrown into prison. There sure is a lot of poverty in that country.
And human rights abuses were widespread.
I must say that the people of Thailand were very friendly.
Yes, but I'm not sure I agree with their government policy of shoot to kill suspected drug dealers.
And in Cambodia, we had to watch out for landmines when we were in the countryside, even though it's so beautiful there.
Yeah, you're right. China was so beautiful and we only got to see a tiny bit of it.
Yes, but remember that it's still a communist country and you can't travel everywhere either.
But it has been a great trip, hasn't it?
Yeah, and a great experience for the kids. They got to see a lot of places so very different from America.
It's just too bad that while we're in Japan, we need an interpreter to understand where we were going.
And so that we didn't insult anyone either.
When we arrived in San Francisco, Granddad was so glad to be back in the good old USA that he knelt down and kissed the ground. And what do you think we did next, Miss Spencer?
What did you do next, Irma?
We went out to eat.
Where do you want to go for supper?
McDonald's.
KFC.
Huh. I want a great big juicy steak.
Well, I'm sorry for all of you. I've already made reservations for all of us tonight.
Where?
Well, I thought we should end our trip to the Far East with a meal at Hop Sing's.
Chinese restaurant.
Oh no, not rice again.
Oh, Bob, I was only joking. Let's go to Joe's American Grill.
And at this time, we would like all of you to join us in singing This Land Is Your Land, which we are dedicating in the memory of Sister Jenny Glass, past state lecturer of Massachusetts, who passed away just about 2 weeks ago. So please join us in This Land Is Your Land. By Irma Albright, the end. We thank you very much. Please be seated.